Hey, Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. I don't know when you're watching this, except I do know you're watching in the future. When I'm recording this right now, it's a week before Christmas here. Got my Christmas tree up. But no matter when you're watching this, this is a really important message. It's a great time of year when I'm recording this. Happy time of year. This is late 2023. It's before the Bitcoin ETF. It's before the halving of 2024. So there's a lot of great stuff coming in the coming months and quarters and years for Bitcoin. But there's a problem. And it needs to be talked about. Okay. And a lot of people don't talk about this problem because they don't understand the problem, or they don't understand the urgency of the problem, or frankly, it's just not popular to talk about, right? Like it's not going to be very fun, probably, this video, but it needs to be said. It needs to be heard. It is in my self-interest to address this problem, but it's also in your self-interest to hear me out and hear why this problem pertains to you if you're in Bitcoin, okay? What is the problem I'm talking about? And why does it apply to you? Well, first we have to identify what is the problem Bitcoin solves. Okay. For the last 4,000 years, we have a variety of forms of political currencies. Okay. These are currencies controlled by government, organizations, tribes, nations, empires, central bankers. All these people, all these corporations, individuals, and groups of people control Bitcoin, right? The central bank of the United States controls the US dollar. The central bank of all the major currencies control their various currencies. All right. What's the problem with gold? Same thing. What's the problem with silver? Same thing. What's the problem with real estate? What's the problem with this? All these things. The fundamental problem with previous forms of money is that there was a single point of failure. The single point of failure for the US dollar is the central bank. It is the US government. Okay. And so because there was a single point of failure for the US dollar, we will inherently, inevitably, 100% of the time debase said dollars if we have any desire to, right? If we win a war, oh, just debase the dollar. If we have a credit event, oh, just bail them out and debase the dollar, right? That's the fundamental problem. The problem is not the Republicans. The problem is not the Democrats. The problem is not Congress or the president or the judges. The fundamental problem is a technological reality that political currency inherently has a single point of failure, right? And this is likewise the same problem with gold, right? Gold obviously is much better because it has a single point of failure far more difficult to exploit, but you still can't exploit it. If you have a bunch of analog gold in a single place, like presents under a tree, if you have it all in one place, you can create paper gold. You can just issue paper gold. You can collect interest and profit off that, and exploit that margin, exploit that fake gold until eventually it comes crashing down. And again, that single point of failure is exploited. Okay. Bitcoin comes along, as you understand, and the beauty of Bitcoin, the reality of it, is that it solves for that single point of failure, right? People often refer this to as decentralization, right? And that's the whole point. You want to decentralize your points of failure so that there is no single point of failure. And that's the beauty of Bitcoin. The stronger it gets, the larger it gets, the more robust it gets, the exponentially more difficult it is to hack, destroy, stop, or even slow down Bitcoin, the asset, and Bitcoin's adoption and Bitcoin's network. So what is the problem in light of that? Okay. Like that really needs to be emphasized. The last 4,000 years, our main problem, our main monetary problem, the number one monetary problem on the planet, no matter your empire, no matter your wealth, no matter your gender, no matter your rank, okay, no matter your class, the single largest monetary problem in history has been single point of failure for the underlying currency itself, for the underlying base layer money. That's been the single largest problem. We solved that 14 years ago, 15 years ago now, maybe if you're watching this. Okay. That means there is a new single greatest monetary problem on the face of the planet. Okay. Most people don't even realize what that problem is. Okay. Most people don't even understand Bitcoin is the solution. And much less they don't understand Bitcoin's the solution. They don't understand the problem it's trying to solve. Much less do they understand the new problem that has emerged. Okay. The new the new question that has emerged is, now that we have a form of base layer money that's a bare asset, bare instrument that does not have a single point of failure, the new greatest monetary problem on the planet today is, how do you protect that asset in a system without a single point of failure? That's the new problem. Okay. We have never had a money as real, as finite, and as robust as Bitcoin. Okay, it solved that problem. And so now the problem is, how do we protect that properly, right? A good metaphor is like the airplane. Okay. For thousands of years, your number one problem with the airplane is, how do we take flight? How do we get off the ground? Okay. For thousands of years, That's your primary technological objective for having a safe and effective flight. Okay, now that we have the Wright brothers, and now that we have lifted off and gotten off zero, and now we're flying, the new single greatest problem in aviation is how do we land safely, right? How do we actually do it safely? The first problem is how do we do it? Now it's how do we do it safely, right? That's the new problem we have with Bitcoin today. And most people, in fact, I think even most people watching this, most of my followers, most of my fans, most people in Bitcoin, I do not think are appreciating the gravity, sorry for the pun, in the situation here, okay? We have less in common with the future than the past, okay? This problem we've been plagued with for thousands of years has now been solved, and we are entering a new problem that most people do not understand, okay? Now, all that said, that is why understanding self-custody is so incredibly important. People get tired of hearing me talk about it. They don't understand, like, Luke, blah, blah, blah. Why do you keep talking about it? Just talk about Bitcoin. It's like, I have to talk about it. Okay. I have to talk about airline safety now. Now that the airplane has solved us getting off flight, now we have to talk about this. Because if you're going to fly planes, you must understand airplane safety. Like, oh, I don't have to worry about that yet because we're just focused on getting the plane off the ground. It's like, okay, that's not a good idea though. Okay. So why am I making this video today? I'm making this video today because I work at the Bitcoin Advisor and I have a lot of calls with people. You know, I had a dozen calls yesterday. I've got 8 or 9 today. You know, I do calls all the time with people, various forms of people, right? High net worth people with hundreds of Bitcoin, you know, just everyday folks like you or me with much less Bitcoin. People that are just starting out, people that are still on zero, people that have Bitcoin on exchanges, people that have Bitcoin off exchanges, single sigs, self-directed multi-sigs, multi-sigs in our company, Bitcoin Advisor, you know, people with all forms of self-custody that have been exposed to all forms of scams that have been around in Bitcoin for all lengths of time. OGs from 2011 and people brand new in the last 6 weeks. Okay. I have talked to for a very long time now a huge number of Bitcoiners, a huge number of prominent Bitcoiners, and a huge number of new Bitcoiners. I'm telling you, most people are not prepared for what is coming, including the Bitcoiners. Okay. Today, I'm recording this at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. Okay. Already at 2 p.m. this afternoon, I have had multiple really painful calls. Okay. People, it's hard. It's hard. It's hard to watch. Um, I talked to someone earlier today who there was a scammer impersonator of me on Telegram. You know, people tell me all the time, you know, Luke, why don't you get rid of the impersonator scammer bots on YouTube, Twitter, Telegram, you know, WhatsApp, blah, 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 blah. They're everywhere, right? I tell them I do, like I do, but the reality is they're there. You know, the ones you see are the ones I simply don't, I can't catch, right? I report them all. They're not being reported, all right? Please, if you see scammers impersonating me, they are not me, okay? I will never reach out to you and ask for you to send me Bitcoin. I will never reach out to you and ask you to do things like if it sounds like a scam, if it's broken English, especially, and especially if they're forcing you high pressure, please, it's a scam. Do not listen to them, okay? Like, come on, people. Beyond that, guys, if you got your coins on exchanges, I do not know what you are doing. Okay. Please, please, please. I do these calls. I've had multiple calls this week alone. People, you need to understand if your Bitcoin is on an exchange, you do not own Bitcoin. Okay. If your Bitcoin is on Swan for storage, it is not safe. If your Bitcoin is on Coinbase, it is not safe. If your Bitcoin is on Binance, it is not safe. If your Bitcoin is on Gemini, if it's on Kraken, if it's on any of these exchanges, it is not safe. iTrust Capital is not safe. Fortress Trust is not safe. Prime Trust was not safe. FTX was not safe. BlockFi was not safe. People, please, I get this question. And some of you may be listening to this right now asking if that's like, yes, that needs to be said. Okay. A lot of people do not understand that simply because Swan Bitcoin is a Bitcoin only company, like if you hold Bitcoin on their platform, you still have Bitcoin on an exchange. Their exposure is to Fortress Trust. Okay. Fortress Trust was going to be bought by Ripple XRP, and then they refused to do so. Okay. Please, please, please get your coins out of Fortress. Get your coins out of Swan. Get your coins out of iTrust. Get your coins out of Coinbase. Get your coins out of all these exchanges. All right. And for full disclosure, I love the Swan team. I have many friends at many of these exchanges and many of these companies. Okay, either indirectly or directly, some close friends, some more acquaintances, but I know a lot of people in this group. Okay, please keep in mind this is not a personal attack, right? Swan is a good company. Many of these companies are good companies, but at the end of the day, you have to remember that these are single points of failure. We solved the single point of failure currency, which is Bitcoin. And so now the single most prominent problem is single point of custody, single point of failure in storing that base layer money that does not have single point of failure. Okay, so please, if you have your Bitcoins, get them off exchanges. All right. I had a call, a couple calls this week with people learning about my services at the Bitcoin Advisor, learning about the company as a whole, and we charge, just for context, we charge a 1% fee. And a couple of people this week told me, "Oh, that's so expensive, Luke." And I break it down for them. I'm like, "Hey, ETF's going to charge 1%, probably 2%, a lot of them." And then we go on to have a longer conversation, and they're doing things with their self custody. They don't even realize the risk of what they're doing. Okay. If you have not gotten your UTXOs managed, that's going to cost you way more than 1%. Okay. I had a call with someone this morning. I had an initial call with them a couple weeks ago, helping them understand Bitcoin Advisor. And, they were concerned about the fees and other things. Okay. This morning, I have a second call with them and they got scammed. Okay. They lost a generational amount of sats. Okay. Many, many years worth of our company's fees gone in a second, and that's painful. The Telegram story was painful. This separate story was painful. Yesterday, I had a couple of these calls, people trying to understand that, yes, indeed, you should not hold your Bitcoin on exchanges. All right. I've talked to people that do not understand. Okay. I had one this morning, I had one 2 days ago, and I had one on Monday, I think. So at least 3 people this week did not understand your seed phrase is your Bitcoin. Your 12 words is your Bitcoin. If you have $100,000, let's say, worth of Bitcoin in a single SIG seed phrase, okay, that seed phrase is your $100,000. If you lose that, it is gone. If someone, one of your neighbors or one of the people who tried to orange pill at work has a, crazy uncles, friends, whomever, that hears that you have Bitcoin and they think that you've got a lot of Bitcoin, like there is a massive honeypot there. It is a single point of failure. If you have that 12 words in your house somewhere and said person believes you have those 12 words in your house and they believe that you have 6, 7 figures, maybe even as low as 5-figure US dollar amounts of Bitcoin, that is a single point of failure. Okay. I have heard those stories. I have seen those stories. You might think I'm paranoid. You might think that I'm making this video just to, get more people to sign up for Bitcoin Advisor. And yeah, I am, frankly, because a lot of people need it. All right. The goal with multi-sig, the goal with collateral custody, the reason I'm at the company is because I genuinely believe this is the single largest monetary problem on the planet today. And that problem is only going to get larger as the value of Bitcoin skyrockets. Okay. As Bitcoin goes up by a factor of 10, all the Bitcoiners today are going to realize, wait a second, I've never managed a $3 million portfolio before. I don't know how to do these trusts. I don't know how to have jurisdictional arbitrage. I don't know what to do with my taxes. I don't know, how do I protect against this? How do I protect my kids? How do I make sure my Bitcoin goes on to my kids? How do I make sure it goes on to my wife or to my, or, like this becomes a larger problem as the value of Bitcoin skyrockets. And that problem is okay. I want to make that clear. Like, this is the new problem. This is the new reality we're in. Like, I would rather live in the world, the technological world, where we have airplanes, and the new problem is how do we make airplanes safer versus the past where we don't have airplanes, right? Okay, so like it or not, this is the new normal. Okay, this question of how are you keeping your Bitcoin secure? Is there a single point of failure in Bitcoin setup? And could that single point of failure be you? Could it be the person in the bed next to you? Could it be your neighbors? Could it be, your government? Like, that's the new question we have to live in now. Now that we have a money that has solved the single point of failure for the base layer currency, now your problem you have to ask yourself is, what's your single point of failure for your custody solution? If you died today, does your spouse know how to access your Bitcoin? Okay. Do you understand the importance of UTXO management? Okay. Do you have a plan in case you have to leave the country quickly for whatever reason, right? Do you have an estate plan protocol for your kids? Okay. These are legitimate questions you have to keep in mind. Like, what happens with the scammers? Okay. Like, again, there was this imposter of me on Telegram today, unfortunately, and then this second story of this second person that also got scammed this morning. It's like people think that 1% fee is expensive, but they don't realize that you can lose it all like that in a singular moment. Even if it's not all of it, even if it's just partial of it, right? It's like, it's still brutal, like to lose a tenth or a third or half your stack. in a single moment. It's crazy. And these AIs, these bots, these impersonators, like it's going to get worse. Okay. These impersonators of me, there are only going to be more of them. Okay. These YouTube scams, there's only going to be more of them. These comments in the bots, there's only going to be more of them, right? And yes, there are solutions down the line in the far future. Yes, sure. But the reality is artificial intelligence is coming. The scams are going to get more dramatic. The lure to chase yield products is going to get more dramatic. The number of paper Bitcoin products is going to get dramatic. All right. And my emphasis is max pain is up. People ask me all the time, Luke, is Bitcoin going to crash? Oh, we're in the $40,000 range US. Like, what if Bitcoin crashes 30, 40, 50%? Oh my goodness. It's like, no, max pain is up. Okay. What's going to happen is that Bitcoin's going to start going up in price. As it starts going up in price, people realize, oh my goodness, I just went from $10,000 in Coinbase to $50,000 in Coinbase. I need to withdraw right now. I don't know why I was putting this off. I heard Luke talk about this and pound the table in his videos, and I didn't do it. And then they're going to realize that they have to do it, whether they work with me on their own, I don't care, but they'll start to do it. All the exchanges will get drained. Then the ETFs will come in, then they'll start draining exchanges. And as the exchanges are drained, more and more coins are taken into hodled, cold, diamond hands, meaning Bitcoin price goes up, it skyrockets, thus incentivizing the feedback loop, more withdrawal. This means exchanges start to become insolvent, or in fact, many of them probably already are insolvent. Binance, for example, continues to refuse to have an audit. But point is that as the Bitcoin price goes up, more and more of these insolvencies become aware and relevant, meaning that therefore incentivizing more people to withdraw. And it could just continues indefinitely. And because this is on a shorter and shorter and shorter time horizon, that means that the faster people withdraw, probably the more mistakes they make with self-custody, meaning that the more mistakes they make with self-custody, the more coins that are lost, right? Okay, like millions of Bitcoin have been lost, people. At least 3 million, probably more like 4 or 5 million, maybe even 6 million, okay? Millions of more Bitcoin are going to be lost. I talk to people like that. Okay, stories I can't say on publicly, but you would not believe how easy it is to lose these Bitcoins. Okay, if please, my parting message here is that I don't care whether you work with me at the Bitcoin Advisor. Yes, the link's in the description. Yes, I'm making this video. Hopefully that you will take your self-custody seriously and consider doing that. Multi-sig is a really good way to do that with collateral custody. We set you up with the model fixing that new problem. We create the safe airplane where no matter if you lose your seed phrase, your Bitcoin is fine. Your country comes and makes a certain exchange illegal, your Bitcoin is fine, right? You get hit by a bus, your kids are going to be fine. They're going to have their Bitcoin, right? Your wife doesn't know what's going on. We can help her out. We can help Orange Pillar. We can help her understand the importance of Bitcoin, the importance of Bitcoin custody, and make sure that she has all the information that they need, or him, vice versa, obviously. But I know like 93% of you watching are men. But the point is, no matter what, we can make sure that there is not a singular point of failure in your custody setup. And that is the single new largest monetary problem on the planet. And that's why I'm there. Yes, it's in my own self-interest, but I'm making this video for you, right? Like I said, already today, I've talked to 2 people. They got scammed, and 1 person that had a disastrous setup where they were going to lose it. I talk to people all the time. They have their seed phrases online. They don't understand the importance of their seed phrases. They lose their coins. They send their coins to scammers. It's just people, you have to understand the new war. Now that the war over the seat of power of the money printer, that war is over. Okay, the power of who's going to be in charge of pulling the money printer lever next election cycle, that war is ending. Okay, that war has been going on for thousands of years, and that war is ending. The new war is how to find Bitcoins lost and scattered about. Okay, the new war is for the Bitcoins you own. I don't care if you have half a Bitcoin or 500 Bitcoin or 5 sats. Okay, you need to, well, actually, maybe a little bit more than 5 sats. But my point is, no matter what order of magnitude, the number of sats or Bitcoins you have, you need to take self-custody seriously. Okay, you need to take these things seriously. You have to start thinking of your Bitcoin in terms of at least 100x the value of what it is today. Okay, because that's the time horizon you should have. All right. So, and as Bitcoin's value goes up, it's this dilemma is going to get worse. Okay, what I'm about to say is not to be arrogant, but it's just true. Like my time, I'm going to have 0 time. Okay, everyone at Bitcoin Advisor, we're going to get booked up. We'll have time, but we'll have time for the companies that are coming, right? FASB rules were just approved, right? Everyone wants to hear Saylor talking about how FASB, accounting change is going to send Bitcoin to 5 billion. Wow, Michael Saylor says Bitcoin is 5 billion. Yeah, okay, great. But it doesn't matter if you don't have your self-custody down, right? The companies understand they need multi-sig. The charities understand they need multi-sig, okay? The time is closing for individuals to be buying Bitcoin off exchanges, to be withdrawing it to their self-custody, and to have the time to set up multi-sig vaults with collateral custody partners, all right? Like, I make these ads, I make these speeches, I try to educate people about Bitcoin, and most of them won't listen or understand. I try to educate people about self-custody, whether that's whatever route they take. It's just, and I know most people aren't going to listen, but that's reality. Most people are not going to be buying Bitcoin when it's cheap. Most people, of the people that are buying Bitcoin, are only going to be buying on exchanges. And most of the people that are actually withdrawing from exchanges to the self-custody are going to lose a significant portion of those Bitcoins in their self-custody for all these potential single point of failures that are going on, right? So my parting question is, now that we are in this new era where the airplane is flying and we have a new single greatest monetary threat on the planet, like, it's not my fault. It's your fault now, right? It's no longer the fault of the central bankers. Like, the problem relies on you. Are you the single point of failure for your kids inheriting your Bitcoin? Okay, is the location of your seed phrase the single point of failure for a thief or a criminal or whomever to exploit? Okay, is the device you have say? I mean, like, all these questions, right? And there's so many more I'm not getting to, but anyway, I'm just making this video. This week has been a good week, very fulfilling. I've helped a lot of people get coins off exchanges. I've helped a lot of people have a lot of peace of mind. But it's hard, especially around the holiday season, for people to get scammed. And then it's funny. I'll have one call and someone says, "Oh, your guys are so expensive, 1%." And then other people will call and be like, "Yeah, I just lost this. Like, I need help." And others will, please don't be the person that's gonna hodl your Bitcoin into millions of dollars per coin and then have it lost to a singular point of failure. Please take self-custody seriously. Please consider setting up a custody solution where there is zero single point of failure. In my opinion, the best option is the Bitcoin Advisor. You can talk to me there. Free call, email me, please. Link in the description. I still have time to do it. The companies are not here yet, but I can assure you they are coming and they're going to come quick. So please just do it. I don't like, look, I don't care if you use me or not. Okay. Bitcoin Advisor, we have lots of free resources on our website. If you want to figure it out on your own, go for it. That's great. Love it. Please do it. We have free resources, many, many articles, dozens of pages of content, videos, educational resources, all on our website. Just do it, right? You do it on your own, spend the 1,000 hours, figure it out, and hope you do it right. Or, if you want some help, yes, we do charge a fee, and yes, we do help you with that because we love it. I love it. I can't stop. Like, I get up at 8 in the morning, I do these calls, I go to bed at like 2 in the morning, and then I do it all over again. Just boom, boom, boom. And some days it's really fun to see how excited people get when their sats finally are leaving exchange. Other times, like today, it's bittersweet, right? It gets really hard sometimes. I mean, I love my work. I really do. But the the reality is that, now we have this airplane that's flying, and most people don't realize that they need to take flight safety seriously, and they're not listening to, I'm the little flight attendant, right? I'm doing the little signals and showing you how to put the mask on, and most people are too busy on their phones. And um, I'm a hypocrite, by the way, at that, but it's true. We have less in common with the future than the past, and this new problem is, how do you keep your coins safe? That's the new battle. All that energy directed towards how do we print more currency. The new battle is, how do we get his coins? How do we get their coins? And so you really need to make sure you don't have a single point of failure. So that's the point of the video. Click the link if you want to talk. If not, go to the Bitcoin Advisor. We have free resources on there where you can learn and do this on your own. So please, either way, just do it. Book a call, pursue the resources, whatever. Merry Christmas. Have a wonderful New Year. Thank you. Bye. Bitcoin is incredible, and it's incredibly important, which is why it means a lot that you're watching this video and you're taking the time. I do this because I believe it is a really, really important innovation that we've discovered a way to not have a single point of failure at global base layer money. See, fiat money, political currency units, and gold, all other forms of money up to this point in history have had a single point of failure. This has been the largest monetary problem in human history for the last 4,000 years. And now we have Bitcoin, and Bitcoin solves that single point of failure problem. And now, therefore, we have a new single point of failure problem, and that is, how do we custody and store that Bitcoin properly for the long term in a safe and secure way that brings peace of mind? That's why I work at the Bitcoin Advisor. If you were to be hit by a bus, Does your spouse, do your kids, do your loved ones and beneficiaries know how to access your Bitcoin? Do you have a proper self-custody storage method to where there is no single point of failure? Not from yourself, not from your seed device, not from where your seed phrase is stored. Have you considered these questions? Have you gotten your UTXOs managed? Do you have jurisdictional arbitrage? Have you considered all the trust, taxes, and estate planning requirements that are associated with becoming a high net worth person? Because if you are buying Bitcoin right now, you are going to become a high net worth person. Are you prepared for the amount of Bitcoin you have to skyrocket in value 2x, 5x, 10x, or 100x eventually? That's the time horizon you should have. And so you need to be preparing today for that future. How are you going to custody your Bitcoin? How are you going to leave that Bitcoin for your future generations? Because after all, that's what we do this for, right? You're buying Bitcoin for your kids. You're buying it for your grandkids. And so I highly recommend you start thinking in those long-term time periods now, because companies are coming, charities are coming, high net worth individuals are coming, and all of them are going to realize that having an allocation to a multi-sig collateral custody vault is going to be something that is of serious consideration for them. So once you understand Bitcoin is a beautiful innovation for not having a single point of failure at the base layer currency, now you have to start seriously considering, how do I have my custody stored where there is no single point of failure? Okay, if you want to learn more about that, please click the link in the description. I have dozens of pages of free educational content for you and videos. I'm happy to help in that free way. And then if you want individual help, I'm also happy to help you join the Bitcoin Advisor, where you can be an ongoing client. You can become one of my clients, and I'd be happy to help you in the years to come to make sure your Bitcoin's protected, to where no matter what, no matter if thieves or scammers or spammers or yourself or your family member or whoever, no matter whether it's due to theft or loss, misallocation, misplacement, or just other mistakes, I'm happy to help you and be that voice of reason in the coming years ahead. So click the link in the description. I'd be happy to help. Check it out. Thanks.